My name is Astvatsaturian Turcotte. I would like to begin by thanking the Nagorno-Karabakh representative, Robert Azerbaijan, for inviting me, and also Armenian National Committee for hosting me today. It's an honor to be here, celebrating Nagorno-Karabakh's 21st anniversary of independence. It's humbling for me to speak to you about my personal experience here and in part of this amazing country, my new home. I was born an Armenian in Baku, Azerbaijan. I had a happy, sunny childhood in a beautiful city. But things changed in '88, soon before I turned 10. Life as we knew it for myself, my family, and hundreds of our friends ceased to exist as the gangs and violent riots stormed our streets and attacked us for being Armenian. Not only was I confused as a child, watching the sudden surge of violence around me, but my parents, adults, were confused as well. This cannot be happening in this day and age, we thought. My grandmother, a very wise woman, told me to start keeping a diary. She said, because things like this don't happen every day, and you must never forget. This diary turned into my book. Through glimpses of news and my parents' fearful talks, I understood that Artsakh, as we call it, beautiful Armenian land, was fighting for its freedom and liberation. This was the reason we were hated. The months spent surrounded by Russian tanks never offered any security. We never knew when we could be attacked, when the demonstrations around us would resume. When thousands of Armenians died in 1988 during an Armenian earthquake, we received cards of congratulations from Azeri citizens, congratulating us on the deaths of Armenians. Going to school became terrifying. My face and my name, so very Armenian, became terrifying. The security and stability of the life my parents worked so hard to build for my brother and I disappeared. I witnessed violence and the intolerance toward innocent Armenians with my own eyes and with my own body, a body of a child. This was no longer our home. This was a place we had to flee like thousands of others. Some left bruised, beaten, with nothing, in the middle of the night in their nightgowns, boarding ships to nowhere. Others leaving hurriedly to distant places away from everything they knew and everyone they loved. We didn't just lose our belongings, our homes, and our security. Many Armenians lost their lives. The graves of my grandparents are in Baku, are no longer there, because they were demolished, as were all the Armenian cemeteries in Baku and the rest of Azerbaijan. The Armenian church I treasured visiting as a child was set ablaze. Now, as an adult and as a mother, I fully comprehend the suffering my parents endured in Baku and later as refugees, and only for being Armenian. Due to the earthquake, the blockade, and the war with Azerbaijan, the life in Armenia for the next 3 years was extremely difficult. During this time in my family's life, the Artsakh Armenians were suffering conditions far worse than us. They were fighting a brutal war for independence and decolonization of their ancestral lands. And we supported them then, and we support them, and we must support them now in their decades-long struggle. I could not wish for my experience on anyone, let alone a fellow Armenian. Nagorno-Karabakh must be recognized as an independent state. Despite the historical evidence that Karabakh is an ancient Armenian land, the reality of today and the last 24 years is that Armenians are no more safe under Azeri rule than we were in Baku. The anti-Armenian rhetoric, and propaganda plagues its policies. Artsakh Armenians could and should never be subjected to the Azeri government. Armenians of Artsakh are peace-loving people full of love for their history and land. They have the right to self-determination through democratic processes such as referendums and their government's resolutions, to be independent from the often violent and intolerant Azeri rule. The hope for peaceful resolution of this conflict is vulnerable but everlasting. It is my dream that in my lifetime, Artsakh is free, and is formally recognized by the world, affirming its right to self-determination within its own sovereign and secure borders. This process toward freedom and independence can start here and now, in the heart of the free world, United States of America. Thank you.